In today's video, we're going to check out a brand new device by Nothing. It's actually under the CMF by Nothing brand. And this is a brand that's been known for providing a very cost-effective, cost-conscious device that is not only aesthetically pleasing, great performing, but also really good bang for the buck, for the lack of a better term, because what you always get is way more than what you're paying for. Also, we're checking out a brand new Barrett Buds, the Buds 2 Plus. And just so you know, from the beginning of this video, the combined cost value of both of these devices is $350. Yes, the brand new device with the higher storage capacity option that they have available, including the Buds 2, well, the Buds 2 Plus that we have in here, are $350. So without further ado, let's check out all the cool new features on both the brand new CMF Phone 2 Pro and the Buds 2 Plus. Both of these devices are great bang for the buck, again, at a combined value of $350, are providing us so much more than what you'd expect. Like and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified whenever we have new videos for you on the channel. So in front of us, we have the Phone 2 Pro, and as well as the Buds 2 Plus. Both of them are made by CMF by Nothing. Again, it's a sub-brand of Nothing, so if you're familiar with Nothing, you're always going to be familiar with what the value that they provide you. And when it comes to not only just the fact that they have a great value, but they also make them look so nice. The buds that we have in here support LDAC, as well as the fact that they support 2-device pairing. Here, the CMF Phone 2 Pro is going to give us the ability of getting a much better experience than the first generation with few minor upgrades. More specifically, the design on the back, as you notice right here, looks absolutely stunning. Again, at $279, this is crazy how they're able to bring the price point to this level. Now, there is going to be 2 different configurations, an 8128 and an 8256. In the US, the 8256 model is going to be the one available through the beta program. So if you're looking for that, that's going to be one of the better, really nice options to get. We have an accessory port here that's positioned on the bottom, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. And what that means essentially is that we have a triple camera stack on the back, dual 50 megapixel, a primary and a telephoto, as well as an 8 megapixel ultra wide. But we also have the ability of enjoying a nice large battery, a 5000 milliampere, and a beautiful design. There's a few colors that this device is going to be available in. There's an accessory port position here for some of the accessories that Nothing is going to be selling there. And of course, a beautiful, very nice, almost flat this size. You can notice here, it's ever so gentle, basically kind of like a curve at the edge. We have a pre-applied screen protector on the 6.67-inch display in here. Let's go ahead and turn it back on. Beautiful. And of course, we have a fingerprint sensor built in. Nothing OS 3.2 built in, supported with a lot of functions. We'll talk about those in a second. But in the box, we get a clear case. We have a USB-to-C cable here to be able to charge and data transfer. And we also have the SIM removal tool. And as you can see here, beautifully accented with the Nothing little logo on it. It gives us the ability of accessing the SD card that's on this device. Yes, this device, although supports 256 gigs of internal storage, you can actually add an additional up to 2 terabytes SD card support on this device. On the bottom right side, there's an accessory port that you're able to purchase some accessories for in certain markets. It's pretty straightforward. You just put it on, and then if you want to remove it, you just basically spin it out. But for the most part, it's just straightforward. It sits in, you can position it. It doesn't actually really move, but it does provide a nice little accent to the device, the way the look actually comes out. There's going to be a few colors available. This is the light green version. You notice there's CMF by Nothing in here, the triple camera stack on the back, as well as the 60 megapixel camera on the front. Now, when it comes to the Buds 2 Plus, pretty straightforward. We get the buds themselves. They'll be inside of the case. And this one is actually in blue color. There's going to be 2 options in here. There's blue and a light gray version of it. And one of the biggest things I'll probably say is the long battery life, the large 12mm drivers that we have in here, as well as LDAC support, as we saw right there on the box. It does have dual pairing. You're able to connect it to 2 devices using the single, basically pairing button that we have inside of here. USB-C charging directly into the actual case, no wireless charging, but a design that looks beautiful on here. And of course, this one is actually a moving part. And the nice thing about it is you're also able to use a lanyard in here in case you want to be able to use them or hang them there. Otherwise, just put it away or use it as a fidget spinner, because that's what I've been using it, to basically play with it as much as possible whenever I'm just sitting there and doing nothing. No pun intended there, but definitely a beautiful pair of devices there. From an aesthetical design, we have a 6.67-inch display at 120 Hz refresh rate. Basically, the screen resolution is going to be about 1080 by 2392. We have an essential key button positioned right under the power button. It does feel different. It's more of a rounded edge as opposed to the flat edge of the power button. So just keep in mind that that one is just going to be for the essential functionality that allows us to actually take notes from anywhere. If, let's say, we're looking at the home screen, that doesn't even matter. And let's say we're even looking at something through the camera experience here. I can actually just take a picture in here, and now it'll actually customize it to the experience that you want. We can also add a voice note. These are going to be the brand new Buds 2 Plus from CMF by Nothing, releasing at the same time as the brand new Phone 2 Pro from CMF. Great experience, and of course, a great audio profile with LDAC support. I'll go ahead and customize it. I'll go ahead and say save. And then as you can see here, it does take it basically into an application called the Essential app, or the Space, that allows us to actually kind of aggregate all of that information. Short answer, essentially what it does, it aggregates the information based on the image. If you have a voice note, it'll transcribe it for you. But otherwise, it basically, in here, as I was showing you basically the egg roll, the spring roll wrap that we have in here, it just gives me the information that it sees in the image, contains what some of the information that we have. And of course, we can add it to a specific collection if you wanted to basically maybe just summarize that experience. Otherwise, let's say if you're taking pictures of, let's say here, Voltron that I have in here, a well-made figure representing a robot featuring distinct red, blue, and silver coloring. Obviously, it's describing it. We can add that to a collection as well. And of course, you can take screenshots of, let's say, your music experience here. It just says YouTube Music and the time and date that it took it. Really nice, very simple, and again, great for audio notes. It does transcribe that information if you jump back into it, and like the one that we just did. It'll give it a second here, so you'll see right there, it customized the experience, talked about the experience, what it is, and it put all of that for me in a note. And again, great way of interacting with a functional button on the side. On the top, we have one of the microphones. We have two microphones positioned on this device for audio capture. On the left side, we have basically just the volume rocker. Very straight, very simple. Now on the bottom, we have access to the USB-C port, the bottom firing single firing speaker that we have in here that basically is rated to go up to 150% sound, so it should be pretty loud. We have a dual SIM supported SIM tray here, or a SIM card as well as an SD card supported up to 2 terabytes. And of course, USB-C bottom firing port. One thing to mention is the 5000 milliampere battery that we have on this device does support reverse wired charging at up to 5 watts using this USB-C port. So in case a friend of yours battery is low, you can actually turn it on by plugging this device to the other device, and it'll be able to charge them at 5 watts from the internal 5000 milliampere battery. The charging speed on the internal battery is 33 watts. It's also wired using the same port. Again, single firing bottom speaker for audio experience, and of course, better support of audio and low latency when you're using the CMF Buds. So the operating system that we have in here, it did receive one update. It is the Nothing OS 3.2. The device is CMF by Nothing Phone 2 Pro. Triple camera stack on the back, as you can see, a 50 megapixel primary, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 50 megapixel telephoto lens. The front facing camera that we have in here is a 16 megapixel camera, and we do have a screen protector on that 6.77 inch flexible AMOLED display at up to 120 Hertz. The processor in here is an upgrade from last time, the first generation of this device. It is the MediaTek Dimensity 7300 Pro 5G. Configuration on RAM and storage, this one is an 8256 with the additional 2 gigs of RAM boost that we have in here, but there's another variant of an 8128 not available in the US, but in certain markets you're going to be able to see an 8128 and an 8256 in 4 different colors. Battery capacity is a 5000 milliampere battery, as I mentioned to you guys, wired charging with 33 watt, not included in this market. Some markets will receive chargers, so depending on where you are, but it does also support reverse wired charging at 5 watts. When it comes down to the actual Buds 2 Plus, all you need is the Nothing X application. You download it, install it, it should work perfectly for your device, and it supports all of the different versions, the 2A, the 2, and the 2 Plus. And once you set that up, it's pretty straightforward. It'll support all the experiences that you need to be able to customize on the Buds 2 Plus. We have noise cancellation up to 50 dBs. We have a spatial audio fixed or off. I have it off currently, obviously, since we're not wearing it as well. We have the ability of customizing the bass experience all the way, what they're referring to as ultra bass. You can turn that on and increase the bass functionality out of it itself. Personal sound is a very nice experience in here that allows us to actually customize the experience to your own preference, and you can actually do the testing that they have in here to get that personal experience. We have the equalizer built in. You can customize different ones, custom one, or even use some of the presets that you have in there. Of course, as far as control, you can customize the double tap, triple taps, tap and hold, and then double tap and hold, which gives us the ability of adding additional functionality that are not programmed. And you can customize them individually. You don't actually have to mirror them on both. We do have some device settings, but about here, again, this is TK CMF Buds 2 Plus. We have low latency mode, high quality audio mode. Out of the box, it's configured to AAC. You're able to switch it over to LDAC, and it does support dual connection, as you'll notice over here. It is connected to both the S25 Ultra as well as the Nothing Phone 2 Pro. So you don't have the problem of keeping LDAC and having the dual connection. In-ear detection is an option as well. An ear fit test, of course, in case you're not using the right ear tips. They do provide 3 sizes. The mediums are the ones that are pre-installed. Now, when we switch it over to the camera experience, we're pretty straightforward. We have obviously photo, videos, and different experiences. But when it comes to video, one thing you keep in mind is your best performers are going to be the primary sensors on the back. And what I mean that is the 50 megapixel primary and the 50 megapixel telephoto. Those are the two, when you go to 4K 30 frames per second, that are going to be the only lenses that are showing it. If we switch over to 1080p, you'll notice that the ultra wide jumps in as well. And you basically get the 2 or the 3 different focal lengths: ultra wide, main, and telephoto. For me, I'm going to keep it at 4K. 4K 30 is going to be the best. On the front, the best experience is going to be 1080p 60 frames per second, and it is using the 16 megapixel camera on the front. We have photo mode, portrait mode, and of course night mode to be able to capture some of those beautiful images. And we have a couple of additional modes as well: slow motion, time lapse, panorama, and of course expert photography only. No video in expert mode. Just if you want to be able to experience that, you can go in there, customize the different experiences, and you do have RAW support as well. Let's not waste any time. Let's go outside and check out the front-facing camera and the main sensor on the back on the device, as well as on the buds, listening to the audio recorded with the 6 mics that we have in here. We're going to start off with the front-facing camera. Now, 1080p 30 frames per second is the maximum we can shoot here, although we're able to go all the way to 4K 30 frames per second on the main sensor on the back. We have 3 sensors on the back, obviously the main 50, the secondary telephoto 50, and of course the 8 megapixel ultra wide. So even at $279, the price point for this device, we're still getting triple camera setup on the back as well as a front-facing experience, and I feel like it's pretty well rounded. Let's go ahead and switch over to that main sensor on the back. When it comes down to the main sensors on the back, the dual 50 megapixel cameras, meaning the main sensor and the telephoto, both give us the ability of shooting at 4K 30 frames per second. 1080p will be experienced on all 3 lenses, obviously the ultra wide, the main, and of course the telephoto. But as far as 4K, it's capped at the 250 megapixel cameras, which is actually pretty decent. They're the 2 big cameras on the back of this device. So my hope is that you're enjoying this audio and video sample from the brand new CMF 2 Pro phone for the US. Now, testing out the audio on the CMF Buds 2 Plus, this is going to be a great example of what you should expect if you're, let's say, making phone calls or recording video the way we're doing it here. The audio that we have in here is actually pretty decent. We have a 12mm driver in each ear that provides us a really good customized experience that we're able to get directly within the application. You're able to boost the audio with not only the EQ, but also the ability of adding the extra bass in there in case you want to be able to get that nice bassy sound, or you can reduce it if you don't. You're also able to customize it with the ear test as well as using the right ear tips to be able to get that great ANC. Range and performance has been basically pretty good. The longest battery life obviously is going to be without ANC, but the experience that you're getting here is pretty much tailored to provide you a great experience on a CMF phone built in with the Nothing X application. If you're going to use this on multiple devices, it does support 2 devices that we talked about before. I connected it to the S25 Ultra that we're recording the video with, as well as the CMF Phone 2 Pro. Great audio, great experience, long range, LDAC support, as well as AAC, and a lot of customization at $69, which is actually a really good price point. Combining the two, and I know I've said this many times in this video, for $350, you can get the phone and the buds at the same time. Not just the phone, which is typically what we see at more of the budget area. The CMF is really knocking it out of the park, and I'm really happy to see that we're getting not only the phone, but the buds as well in the US market. Now that we've listened to the audio from both the device itself, built-in 2 microphones, as well as the 6 microphones on the actual buds, you can definitely see the benefit of what CMF is trying to do in here, or at least what Nothing's trying to do with CMF. Now, on this device, as I mentioned to you guys before, we only have a single firing speaker. That's the one position at the bottom. There is no stereo speakers. Again, at $279, we have to expect certain things that were done to tailor this experience down to that price point. But they did promise us a 150% audio level experience. So I'm going to go ahead and volume level here all the way at 100. You notice it turns all the way red. We're going to be listening to our favorite song. This is Alex Crindo Jumbo by NCS Release. And just to keep in mind, this is going to be playing at 100%. So let's see how that plays.
Jack it up.
So I will say overall, the sound does actually sound pretty decent. It is loud enough that you'll definitely be able to hear it. It is not a bassy sound, primarily because, again, it's a single firing speaker and it's doing all of the heavy lifting. So from a sound experience, if you're listening to audio calls or watching video, there's not going to be any issue. Again, it plays pretty loudly. And it does face directly towards your palm. So when you're holding the device in this position and it faces towards your palm, the palm would actually count kind of like an echoing chamber, and it'll bounce it directly to you. One thing to mention though, if you are a gamer and you like to play with the games and you like holding your phones like this quite a bit, this is going to be a little bit of an issue as it does typically cover the actual speaker. This is where the buds themselves will come in very handy. Not only do they support great gaming experiences because of the low latency mode, dual connection, and LDAC support. So from a gaming experience, again, from both at $350, it's crazy of a deal that makes perfect sense to anybody looking to pick up the Phone 2 Pro to pick up the brand new the Buds 2 Plus as well. Now, before we jump into the gaming experience, one thing to mention as far as the Geekbench score, again, the 7300 Pro is going to be clocking in at 1010 for a single core and 2960 for the multi-core. It's a great experience that we're looking here at a 7000 series chipset from Dimensity and MediaTek that gives us great bang for the buck experience, long battery life, and great performance. Now, switching it over to the gaming experience, obviously, we do have a game launcher that we're able to customize certain function. We're able to turn on the frame rate, the do not disturb, as well as screen recording, achievement, leaderboard. We're also able to stream directly on to YouTube if you'd like to do that. Once you have that customized, you're able to start just enjoying your game. And of course, we've done some game capture in here. Call of Duty Mobile plays great at 90 frames per second in all modes, which is really appreciated. And what I like about the fact is that the overall performance is pretty straightforward. You're actually able to customize the area. And as you notice here on the left side, we're also able to see the performance mode. So we're able to turn on standard mode, performance mode, call blocking, as well as screen recording initiated right away and customize the game launcher. It's positioned here on the left side for that part. And of course, the on-screen display functionality is positioned on the right with a nice little side button that's positioned. And you're able to move this, just so you know, so that it never actually sits whatever your controls are positioned. Now, when we're looking at the gaming experience, there has been no problem at all. 90 frames per second has been pretty consistent. It's like 89, 90, as I'm showing you guys with this example. The game never, obviously the phone never warmed up. This is, again, a 7300 Pro, which is essentially a mid-ranger experience, so kind of like the 700 series of what we've seen from Qualcomm. And it performs quite well. Large battery, great experience as far as gaming. And from a mobile experience, the cameras performed really well overall with the algorithms that we have in here from Nothing. Nothing OS 3.2 has a lot of nice customizations, and of course, the dark theme in there that I always appreciate that we have in here. Now, Nothing CMF does not have any glyph interface, so there's no option for those functionalities that we see on standard Nothing phones. And I think this is where the price point becomes very appealing. At $279 at the 256 gigabyte storage configuration, you're getting a great experience. Add the 2 additional RAM boost gigs that we are able to add there, so you're technically running with 10 gigs. The phone's not going to stutter. The Nothing OS 3.2 is actually quite light of an operating system, considering the fact that this is a custom skin on top of Android 15, which this does launch with at the beginning. Cameras performed quite well. It does take a little bit of a second for it to show the processing that it does for the images to show up the way they're supposed to. And one of the biggest things I appreciate about this is that now we have triple cameras on the back. The ability of shooting 4K out of 2 sensors in there, so not just the main, but also the telephoto. The ability of using, obviously, the reverse wire charging that we have in here. A lot of nice little customizations. But when it comes down to the end of it, when I start talking about the buds themselves, they're actually quite nice. You heard the experience or the audio performance when we put the buds themselves to test to use the 6 microphones that we have in there. Noise cancellation is actually quite nice. Make sure you're using the right ear tips in there so that you actually get the really good seal. There's a couple options in the application as well to customize the listening experience. You're able to boost up the performance of the bass if you want to be able to just get that little extra punchy music, and customizing the EQ. And last but not least, LDAC support. They look really good, very nice, very minimalistic, available in 2 colors, although the phone will be available in 4 colors, and again, they're dual connections. You can connect them to more than 1 device at a time. To summarize the entire experience, this is a budget offering from Nothing under the CMF label. So CMF is actually a company that functions under Nothing as a more affordable, but definitely design conscious, beautifully designed device. The aesthetic on the device, when they showed this to my wife and I told her that this was $279, she actually looked at me and was like, what? There's no way a device like this that looks like that actually, again, is that priced at that level. And I love the fact that for $350, you can pick up basically the phone and the buds at the same time, and works great. It does operate very nicely. I got 5G on T-Mobile here in the US, which was not a problem. And I think that's one of the things I appreciate. Now, the Essential button is a Nothing unique experience that we've seen on the recent releases devices that they put out under the Nothing label. And I'm happy to see that it actually comes here under the CMF label. It's great for taking notes, it's great for transcribing, and also great for, in case you see something and you want to be remembering it later on, you can take a picture of it and then let the system run and see if it can find some information for you. If you add any voice notes, it will transcribe and summarize that information for you. So some nice little customizations built in here. And of course, there's the space application that you need to use to be able to go through all of the notes that you use with the Essential button. So With that being said, let me know what you guys think of the CMF phone. Is this something that intrigues you? In the US, we've never had them before. We've had nothing, and they've been available to us through the beta program, and this is going to be available through the same thing. It is available through the beta program with the 256 gigabyte storage at $279, and the buds themselves will be $69.99 or $69 essentially. So when you combine the two, $350 for both the Buds 2 Plus and the CMF Phone 2 Pro. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support. I will see you in the next video.